Hello and welcome to this week's FILMHOUNDS Podcast. I'm joined by Paul Klein, the features editor, Katie Hogan, who is related to Hulk Hogan, and Becci, and they are both the new deputy editors of FILMHOUNDS. And I'm David Garlick. And we also have a print magazine. We just always forget that, so saying it. And I said it quickly because you said I'm very slow. How are you, Becci?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Did you not know how to say my last name, so you didn't say it?
No, is it Sayce?
Sayce, like the Sayce.
Could you see on my face? It's like
It happens more often than not, to be fair.
Sayce like face, like the Sayce.
Do you know what it is?
Place.
It's because we just like quickly joined and there was no time to have a little chat before, so I didn't get to ask you anything.
Oh, of course.
Do you get people putting an accent on your name, being like, "Oh yes, Rebecca Sachet"?
Or Sayce, I get loads.
Sayce, yeah, I can see Sayce. I'd probably be like, I was like, I don't want to be common and just go Sayce. No, it's probably Sayce. It's probably Sayce. A beautiful French name, beautiful.
But I said it right when I said it, so you don't worry.
This is coming from someone who gets called Clean all the time. I'm like, oh, my surname's only, one of the biggest fucking brands in the world. It's not like it's on underwear and aftershave and everybody knows who Calvin bloody Klein is. No one knows how to pronounce it anyway.
It's because they don't want to associate you with Calvin Klein.
I don't want to associate him with Clean.
So. how bloody dare you? Do you know what?
Walked in on that
Calvin Klein aftershave, really nice. Very, very nice.
Although so on my name, I am not related to Hulk Hogan. I don't want to get sued, but I will say Hulk Hogan isn't his real name. So actually, he stole it from my clan.
His name is Hollywood Hogan. He changed it.
Yeah. Ugh, whatever.
His real name's not Hulk either.
It's his wrestling name, but everyone just like calls him Hulk or calls him Hogan. It's just us Hogans.
Are there any other famous Hogans?
Paul Hogan.
Oh yeah, Are you related?
Michael Hogan.
Are you related to Crocodile Dundee?
Well, no, still not related to any of these people. We just share a name. So Michael Hogan, Battlestar Galactica, PJ Hogan, the middling director.
Muriel's Wedding is good, and his Peter Pan is okay also.
Okay, well, moving on.
Move on, Katie. What are we talking about?
What are we bloody talking about this week?
So this week we are talking about our top 4 films on Letterboxd, and everybody who loves film.
What they do?
What's Letterboxd?
Yes. Well, someone else explain Letterboxd.
Becci was brought on as the resident Letterboxd expert.
Do I follow Beck? I need to check that I follow.
I don't use Letterboxd.
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Controversial film opinion. No, I have too much social media to keep up with something else. I do have it. I had it years and years ago. I think when we were in the pandemic.
When it was cool.
But before anyone I knew used it. So that's one of the reasons I stopped using it, because there was just no one I was interested in on it. And now everyone uses it. And it feels like too much time has passed to jump on now.
I got a few people to join recently, actually. One of my friends...
This will convince me.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually completely understand that too much social media. This is probably why I have laxed on Twitter. Or sorry, X, or whatever it's called. Some people still have the bird, some people have the X, but it's the same platform. But I've laxed on that, and I'm very slow on, what is it called? What's the new one with the butterfly?
No, Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
See, I use them a lot more because of work, because of freelancing. They're like the tools for like getting jobs and stuff. So everything else I don't really use. But more and more I've seen people going to Letterboxd for like physical releases and things like that to see what people have seen, to then contact them for it. So again, another reason to use it.
That is pretty useful. I didn't know that people were using it for physical stuff.
I've seen it for that and for pitch, like commissioning for reviews and all sorts, like from seeing what people, because it's a quick way, I guess, to just see what people have seen because they've logged it.
Oh, now I've got to stop making stupid jokes in my reviews. Now I've got to stop thinking of pun names and thirsting. I've got to treat Letterboxd with legitimacy. One of my friends once went, "I don't like your Letterboxd reviews. They're just puns." I'm like, "Yeah."
I love that. It's the only reason to read Letterboxd reviews.
If you'd like to know my actual opinion on the film, friend, www.filmhounds.co.uk or my TikTok. That's where the legit journalism is. TikTok, Letterboxd is where I just go, "Oh, you know that bit where Barry Keoghan humped the dirt in Saltburn? Yeah, nice."
Spoilers.
So we didn't just jump into our top 4. I did earlier, but just Google facts about Letterboxd, and I couldn't find them. But I wrote one note, and this is not related to you, Paul. This is not directed to you. This is just one note I wrote to say about Letterboxd. Proves everyone isn't a comedian. It's the only note I wrote. But it's good. It's good that people have an outlet to talk about films.
No, I do love it when journalists flock to the platform after they've seen a film to all do the one joke that's like obvious from watching a film. I love it. I think we are all living the same existence.
I have noticed that. So anyone who's like a writer or a critic tends to do like the funny quip or the one line. My last review for a film, I just said "fuck that ending" because I was enjoying it, and then the ending happened. I was like, "Fuck that shit." No.
What was it?
Oh, Mother's Instinct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyone who's planning on seeing it, warning. I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be, and then ending happened. So I was like, nope, fuck that shit. But anyone who doesn't write about film or like is a journalist or is a critic, like for a job or for a hobby or whatever, like any old person. I'm going to insult somebody saying this, but they tend to write more impassioned, more in depth, more thoughtful reviews.
Mine aren't that. So occasionally you'll get like maybe 2 lines where I'm like, "This is a really interesting film. I thought this worked," or "This is still a very funny film." Occasionally you'll get that. You might get a rant, but normally what you get is like me trying to make a pun that no one else has thought of. My most liked Letterboxd review is, I think, really clever. It was a review for In the Heights, which I wrote, "I am not throwing away my shop." That is when I thought of that, I was like, it got like 3,000 likes. Just saying.
Oh my god.
Well, let's see Roger Ebert do that. I mean, he can't, but still.
He can't. He's dead. That's the best joke. No, it's not a joke, but he is dead.
No, the one I did like is that after Smile, the first Smile came out, and there was just loads of critic reviews, and I was reading them, and all of them, I swear 10 of them all had the same joke, which was "shit follows." Right, which is good. And the first time I read it, I was like, "That's really clever." And then I saw it about 10 times, and I was like, "Oh, it's not that clever if everyone bloody thought of it."
No, everyone fights to have the funniest one-line joke about the film, or they like want to get that like 1-star review in, and everyone's going to see it. That's what I keep seeing. It's actually quite entertaining because when you're reading them, like, "Oh, that's quite good. Oh, that's quite good." I'm like, people are fighting over who's the best. I don't care about the film. I just like watching the drama.
I occasionally hope that, when the Letterboxd YouTube channel gets people to read Letterboxd reviews of their old films, I'm like, "Come on, mine was a good one. Make Edgar Wright read my one. Make him read it. Come on now. There was a good pun in there. He'll like it."
Wait, what was
That's
it?
my idea of hell. I don't know why, but I'd hate that. Even if it was like a good review, I don't like it. I don't know why.
At the end of every podcast, we should read one of Becci's Filmhound reviews. Just
No,
Start to finish.
Becci Corner.
No, my actual reviews are pretty normal. I feel like if I use Letterboxd more, I'd lose work. It would be stupid.
I just use it to rate the film as soon as I've watched it, rate it, because I've outsourced my whole memory to the internet. So I cannot remember anything unless I look at my letterbox regarding films. When we do these podcasts, what have you been watching this week, David? Hold on. Oh, Letterboxd says this week, Mufasa, The Lion King, and Companion. So that's it. Thanks for asking. Just go to my Letterboxd. Don't bother asking me.
Wait, is that where you watched then this week?
Yeah, and Mufasa was dreadful. I really
Yes,
hated
it
it.
was. Well, it had 2 good songs, and it pained me. But when I saw that, I was like, right, Knives Out, let's rip this to shreds. And then I came out going, Bye Bye was a good song, and so was We Go Together.
I might not even got that far because I think I saw an hour. I was watching at home with my kids, and I just.
Did you not get to the bit where Mads Mikkelsen sings a song?
I don't know. I'm usually pretty good, and I have to watch the whole film to give it a rating. But I was like, no, I can't deal with this.
My 6-year-old loved it. He was like, that was amazing, Dad. And I was like, no, it wasn't. You were no son of mine.
It's all right. He'll grow up and realize his mistake. It's fine.
I did ask him after we saw Dogman, what did you think was better, Mufasa or Dogman? He went, Dogman. Dogman did karate. I was like, well, that is true. There's no karate in Mufasa. That is true. It's got it there.
How do you remember all the films you've seen then, Becky? You must write them down on paper.
I
You just have a
don't. This is the thing. Sometimes I'll think, oh, I've never watched this. I'll put it on, and I'm halfway through and think, oh no, yeah, I have seen this. I've written about it actually. So yeah, I need to start maybe outsourcing my memory as well, because I cannot keep up sometimes with things I've watched.
To be honest, I don't remember stuff. The stuff that I watched years ago, I'm like, I watched that, didn't I? And then I'll see the film and I'll be like, oh, no, I haven't, never seen this. Or the other way around. Like, actually, my dad needs Letterboxd because he has watched Inside Man countless times. And every time I've gone in, like when I used to live at home, I'd be like, oh, Dad, you're watching Inside Man again. Okay. And I'll be chatting away and he'll be like, what? Stop talking. I've never seen this movie before. Every time. And he did it with
in the
Born
wall there.
Supremacy. He did it just with Born Supremacy and Inside Man. He just claimed he'd never seen it.
I need to check on my Letterboxd to see if I've seen it, to be perfectly honest.
What, Inside Man? It's pretty good. It's a pretty good film. I've seen it 6 times with my dad.
Do you know what? Some of my friends do say to me, they're like, if we're scrolling through, they'll be scrolling through like Shudder or Netflix or whatever. They'll be like, oh, this looks quite good. And one of them will be like, let's see what Klein thought. Get out Letterboxd. Let's see what Klein thought. And then they'll look at it and they'll be like, well, he gave it 4 stars, so let's avoid that one. Or they'll be like, he gave it 2 stars and said it was awful. It's going to be the best film ever. I'm like, you bastards.
Everyone has that person that like you judge your films on the opposite of what they think. And I think we all do it. We all have that person.
I have a couple of friends who have Letterboxd, and once I've seen a film, I'm like, right, I need to know what they thought. Mainly because I can be like, well, you were wrong. I'm not going to say who it is. One of them writes for FILMHOUNDS.
Is it Katie?
I go on Katie's and I'm like, Katie, you need to bump these numbers up on the girl in the poll. Come on. The disrespect at Freddie Prinze Jr.
I've got to watch that. It reminded me. Thanks. Check that.
You got to bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
So, Becky, you need to get a piece of paper and write down 4 films.
I've got them locked up here.
You can cheat.
Oh, can I make a prediction? They're all horror films.
You would be correct.
I know you so well.
Did any of you change yours to seem cooler?
No,
mine.
I kept mine the same.
You should have.
No, mine are exactly. Oh, what? And do like Nicolas Cage. Have you guys watched the Letterboxd top 4 videos? Because people either come across as really, really dumb or pretentious. Like,
I don't know. Guy Pearce seemed. Was it Guy Pearce? Yeah, Guy Pearce's top 4 seemed genuine. It was a mix.
Did you see Zach Galifianakis's? And he's like, my favorite film is Little Voice. It's this tiny little British film. It's like, your favorite film is Little Voice.
Absolutely not.
No one. I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong. Little Voice is a lovely film.
Yeah, it's a great film. But as if he saw it.
He's obviously seen it. Come on.
Do you know what? Do you know what I respect is when certain actors and a very famous knighted director go, I'm going to pick one of my films. I respect that Martin Short went for Amigos. It's like, good for you, Martin Short. Enjoy your work. And when Ridley Scott was like, Blade Runner, underrated. You might be confident, but you're not Ridley Scott picking his own film confident.
As I said, the cast of Book of Clarence, all of them picked Book of Clarence. But they're like,
Well, they promoted it.
They were even on the red carpet promoting it, and everyone was like, "Yeah, Book of Clarence." And then Lakeith, what's his name? Lakeith Stanfield. He picked all his own films.
Coleman Domingo picked If Bill Street Could Talk, which he's in, but he said, "I'm not in it much, and I'm just very proud to be a part of it." I'm like, do you know what, Coleman? You're a cool guy. You got a good voice. You're a lovely fella. You can pick your own film. But it's like if, Jared Leto was like, probably Dallas Buyers Club, probably Fight Club, anything with club in it, Morbius,
Club.
Definitely Suicide Club Squad.
All right, so I'm going to take my microphone and I'm going to go up to people. I'm going to say, this is how FilmHounds is going to go to the next level and go viral. I'm going to go up to people with my new microphone and say, what's your 3 favorite films? Great idea, people. Great idea.
First off, they're going to be like, who the hell is this man just approaching me on the street with a microphone?
Don't run away. Don't run away. I'm safe. I'm safe.
That makes it worse. Don't do that.
What are your 4 least favorite films? Would you
like to buy a magazine? Would you like to buy a magazine? Please take them. I have too many in my house. They're unsold. But my favorite films are Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4. And I can say that.
I believed him until he said Toy Story 4. No one likes it.
Yeah, I as well. I was like, okay, first 3's Toy Stories. It seems legit. Why?
Toy Story 4 is shit.
It's not shit.
Whoa now.
Oh, come on. Have some respect for Buzz and Woody.
No. Ruins the story.
No respect.
It literally undoes the perfect ending of Toy Story 3 and my favorite line in Toy Story 2. The best bit of Toy Story 2 is at the end when he goes, what happens when Andy grows up? And he says, I'll be there for the ride. And then he turns and he says, and I'll have old Buzz Lightyear to keep me company. Beautiful sentiment. Undone by an unnecessary sequel that only has one good bit, and that's the bit where Keanu Reeves shows up as Duke Kaboom. Rajan, why would you leave me? I'm only a toy, Rajan. That's it.
That's actually quite funny.
I've only seen Toy Story 1, so that was loads of spoilers.
I'm sorry, I spoiled a film that's been out for 25 years.
Also, they're in your top 4, man. Like, surely you would know.
Toy Story probably would have been in my top 4.
I thought Little Shop of Horrors was one of your
It is. It's not really my top 4. It's just for.
He was joking.
Just a little joke. Just a little bit of joke.
He did a terrible joke on us.
Take it seriously.
Paul believed you.
If you want it to be serious, why don't you walk over to Letterboxd with all your sad little friends who want to write funny things about films and be pretentious? No, fuck them, Paul. I've got a life. I'm recording a podcast.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
But the reason I would potentially include all 4 of them is because during COVID, my daughter was at the age where she wanted to watch the same thing over and over and over again. And I genuinely saw each of the 4 films 10 times each. So imagine if there wasn't a 4th one.
And do you know what I will say about the 4th one? My son is only a little bit younger than your daughter. And during the lockdowns, I got Disney Plus and he rinsed the Toy Stories. And 4 is his favorite because he finds Forky really funny.
We're in that phase now, just at the minute, of rewatching films constantly, but unfortunately ours is Frozen, and it is driving me fucking bonkers.
He also went through a Mary Poppins Returns obsession every day. Now, I like Mary Poppins Returns. Lovely film.
It's good
lovely film with lovely songs. But there's only so many times you can hear Meryl Streep with a bad, accent go, I'm upside down, oh no! That you're like, I'm going to kill myself because of Emily Blunt. I can't believe this.
Oh my God. I was gonna say, everyone would hate my house then. I don't have any kids. But I do
But I'm just
repeat
watching
watch
Frozen
stuff.
over and over again.
No, I was gonna say I don't watch. Okay, no, the only films that I've actually no, I do repeat watch a lot of things. I once left Jurassic World in my DVD player for a whole weekend, and I just kept repeat watching it because I was like, sure, why not?
That's lazy.
My kid, my eldest, last weekend got us to watch Jurassic World, and then immediately at the end, she was like, "Again, Mom." It's like I do like Jurassic World, but I don't really want to watch it again right afterwards, especially because she's not really watching it. She's watching choice bits, and then if I try and turn it off, she'll go, "No, Mummy."
Oh yeah, no, my son did that with Matilda the musical. It ended and he went, "That is the best thing I've ever seen. Start it again."
It's so good. I'm the same.
I was like, well, to be fair, I nearly did that in a cinema once. I enjoyed The Martian so much, I nearly left the screen afterwards and bought a ticket to watch it again because I was like, that was so good. But I already had a ticket to see something else, so I was like, no, don't watch The Martian again. Go see. I can't even remember. Bridge of Spies.
I thought you shouted out on the screen. Show it again.
Oh, it again, guys. I was the only one in the screen as
More.
well. I could have. I was like, it was like 11 in the morning on a weekday. Me watching The Martian, just having the best time. I was like, this is so good. Ridley Scott, what's going on? You never make
so
good
good.
films anymore. This is
Oh
madness.
my God. You know, you said you were talking about The Martian. I thought you were talking about, for some reason, right? The Martian, yeah, very great film. Sean Bean, that's why we watch it. I thought you were talking about My Favorite Martian with Jeff Daniels and Christopher Lloyd. And I was like, surely you weren't old enough to just be going to the cinema alone.
Play it again. Play it again. My favorite.
And then you said Ridley Scott. And I was like, oh yeah, of course.
Play it again. My favorite
My
Martian.
Favourite
Play it
Martian.
again, please. Do you know what? The only cinema in London where you could probably do My Favorite Martian would be the Prince Charles Cinema. Save it, please.
True. Very true.
Little callback there. Little callback. We still love you, Prince Charles Cinema.
We do keep hanging in there.
Rebecca, what are your Letterboxd top 4?
So mine are very basic horror fan. I've not tried to be cool at all. They're everyone's my first horror film, I think. So number one, it would have to be The Exorcist because it's got to be.
The
Then
original Exorcist.
100%. Exorcist 3 would be a very, very close contender for top 4 though, because I love Exorcist 3. So good. I rewatched that recently. When you're on about what have you watched this week, I think I watched it on like Monday or Tuesday.
Is that like
So
a casual
good.
watch for you then? Like, I'll just put
I
on The
love it.
Exorcist. Love it.
Afternoon free, better flick on George C. Scott having a right nightmare.
Yeah, while I'm working, just whack something on.
When you watch it, do you watch the original cut or do you watch like the new? Have you seen the one where they assembled Blatty's original? Have you seen that one? Was it Arrow or Shudder or someone put together Legion, as it's known?
No, I'll normally just watch the original cut or whatever's closest to me, but either really.
Exorcist 3 is underrated.
So good. But yeah, definitely The Exorcist, then probably the original Evil Dead. But again, any of them I could whack into my top 4 because I just love the Evil Dead films. Just all of them. I could have had 1, 2, Army of Darkness, the remake, and then Evil Dead Rise very close to the top. Because again, I rewatched them so much.
2013 is so good. The 2013 one is
so good.
I'm guilty on this. I've never seen any Evil Dead movies.
Do you remember when
it's a blind spot for
the
me.
remake? Because it's so good, a perfect remake in my opinion.
And also, when they said that they were going to do an Evil Dead 2 with Jane Levy, they were going to do Army of Darkness 2 with Bruce Campbell, and then they were going to do a movie where it was Bruce Campbell as Ash and Jane Levy as Mia were going to team up, and I was like, "Where is that movie?"
We deserved it. We still deserve it.
I can't believe they got rid of Ash versus Evil Dead. They used to love that.
No, I love that. That needed a new season. That was cut way too prematurely. No, so I'd have those two. Then probably Hereditary.
Ooh.
Because I love horror, but specifically for me, I love like familial horror or like parenting in horror. And I feel like
I can
The
see that
scenes
with
in
The
this are
Exorcist
some
and
of the
with
scariest
this,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like rewatching The Exorcist after having kids, I definitely see it a lot differently. And the same with Hereditary. Like I feel like it scares me so much more now that I've got kids. But it's just perfect. Toni Collette was robbed of like an Oscar for this. If she deserved an Oscar for anything, it is for
I'm
her.
your mother.
Just such a good film. I like everything Ari Aster's done, but I feel like this because I was tossing between whether I'd have this or Midsummer, but I feel like this just scared me a little bit more. I love Midsummer because of how it looks. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it looks
It
so it's
scared me
iconic.
so much more.
Just for that bit where Florence Pugh tries to hold back tears while she's walking away.
She does that little sad face, that little. I can't even do it properly, but when she does that little face, I know I'm going to enjoy the film.
She even does it in Black Widow. It's great. It's like
Perfect.
the little Florence Pugh face. Look at that little face.
No, I love it. And then so lastly, I tried to pick something a little bit more modern, and I think I'd go with Hugh Sarah, The Bone Woman, for number 4. It's one of the most
Oh my
recent ones
God.
I've watched that have really like got to me again. I think it is because of like being a mum, being in a very similar situation to like how she felt like being pregnant and first having a kid, that sort of feeling like you're losing who you are. And I think it was such a fantastic portrayal of it, as well as being like really, really creepy. The body horror in it is gross, but no, that would definitely be number 4. I know it's getting a physical release soon as well, which I am very excited for.
Did you say a proper release? Because was that one of the first things you reviewed for FilmHounds?
I didn't review it for FilmHounds. I think I joined the year that we had it, but no, I didn't do the review for this. I think I have written a bit.
I have a vague memory of having a conversation with you about it. That's why I thought about covering it. That's why I was like, "Are you covering this film?"
I've definitely I talk about it whenever whenever I find an in to talk about it. You like films, so there's this film.
Have I got a recommendation for you?
Literally, when it's either that, Dark Skies, or 13 Ghosts. There's 3 films I talk about, and they're it. They should have been in my Letterboxd top 4 as well, but I know they're
Dark
not.
Skies. Is that the alien horror?
Yes.
with it came out like 2013 or something.
Yes, and I
remember that.
Love it.
I remember
that one. But they look up, and then if they look up, they get abducted, or is that a different one?
No, this is one where they're in a house, and at the start it feels sort of like haunted housey, but it's not. It's aliens, and it's great.
It's aliens, not ghosts.
It got panned at the time it's released, and I know that if I watch it back, I'll realise why. But I'm just maintaining in my mind that it's fantastic.
With Kerry Russell. Yeah.
Who's it by?
Scott Stewart, who did Legion, which is a great film, and Priest, which is also very enjoyable.
I like Legion.
Legion's terrific fun. Legion's so fun.
I like it because it's all set in one place and everything just converges on this middle of nowhere, like diner.
I like anything where angels have machine guns. I just think it's cool.
That too, and Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany
with a machine gun as an angel and in Kevin the middle Durant of nowhere
as the angel
Sold.
Gabriel. Yeah, no. But yeah, no, I remember Dark Skies. I remember Dark Skies.
You sound like you're going to tell like a story.
3 films I constantly talk about and recommend to people.
It's one of those films that I watched in pieces when I worked in a cinema. I'd just sit in a screen on my lunch break. I'd be like, I may as well just sit in a screen and watch like 20 minutes of a movie. So I watched it over the course of like a week, and then I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to have to sit down and actually watch this film after shift. And then I did, and I was like, oh, that was shit.
It's not great, but
not to poo-poo all over a film you love. But
it's very of its time, I think, isn't it? There were lots of horror films released around the same time that are all exactly the same.
The bit where Kerry Russell's in the kitchen and the kitchen and like the dining area is fine. She walks over, it pans away. She walks back, and all the chairs are on the table. That was cool. That was
very
really cool.
activity, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, ooh. But then by the end, I was like, what about you, Katie? What are your Letterboxd top 4? Let's hear what Katie. Is it Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, and then one of the Hobbits?
Geek.
No, because remember, I count Lord of the Rings as a trilogy, so they are one. But obviously, Letterboxd doesn't. So
So it is.
No, I didn't.
Do you know how you can tell that they're three separate films? You paid three separate times.
Anyway, I only picked.
Kill Bill's one film. No, it's not. It's 2 DVDs.
I only picked Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring because that's the one I saw the most at the cinema. To be fair, I saw that 3 times. I saw it a lot. I saw the other two only twice, so whatever. But Fellowship of the Ring, it's what brought me into Middle Earth, so that gets a place on my top 4. The other 3 are a bit out there. I don't have a theme. I picked one from childhood. It's A Night at the Opera, but it's the Marx Brothers film from 1935.
How old are you? If it's from your childhood, out of interest.
Well, I didn't tell you this, but I'm actually.
I remember back when we went to the motion pictures.
I actually live forever. No, I say this is a childhood film because my parents got us into like the classics from the 80s, like Star Wars, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, and then 90s stuff, Jurassic Park and stuff like that came out when I was a kid. But my parents also accidentally educated me and my sister on classic old movies, and they love the Marx Brothers. And one of their favorite films was A Night at the Opera. So we naturally watched this when we were kids.
What I realise now is that picture of you with an IV in you was actually your treatment to maintain everlasting youth.
Yes,
You went to was it the clinic from A Cure for Wellness? And now you're immortal.
Nosferatu, I was thinking more.
Yeah, I'm actually Nosferatu. I'm the original Nosferatu. They modeled Nosferatu after me.
I remember going to see the Marx Brothers at the motion pictures when I was a young lady.
I would recommend, if anyone's interested in getting into Marx Brothers, everyone always talks about Duck Soup. And to be fair, Duck Soup is good, but it's not the best. The best is The Night at the Opera. And then a close second is A Day at the Races.
Who's your favourite Marx brother?
My favourite Marx brother is Groucho. It used to be Harpo, and then I realised, no, Harpo doesn't have any of the best jokes. It's Groucho. Groucho's the best.
Groucho with his big voice. I'm Groucho Marx with my big eyebrows and my moustache.
So the other picks, another classic. This is classic Hollywood, classic film or whatever. Had to pick an Alfred Hitchcock. Just for disclaimer, I know Alfred Hitchcock was problematic as fuck, but I love his movies. As a human being, we won't go there, but I love his movies. So I did pick Rear Window because it's basically allowing you to be a voyeur. And as we all love movies, we're all watching, we're all voyeurs. So it's just an excuse to actually watch in people's windows, and you don't have to feel bad about it because you're watching the film.
Rear Window is an amazing film, but it has kind of been ruined by that Simpsons episode where Bart breaks his leg and thinks that Flanders has killed his wife. And then when I watch it, I do just think, oh no, all I can think of is the Simpsons.
Great, thanks for ruining Rear Window for everyone, Paul.
Have you seen the Christopher Reeve remake?
I have, actually. A friend made me watch it and I enjoyed it. It was better than I thought. It was good.
I didn't know that existed. I think I'm gonna have to watch that one.
It's actually worth it.
It's actually not bad. Do you know what is a bad remake of Rear Window? Suspiria.
Suspiria? Do you mean Disturbia?
Suburbia.
That's a very different
that
film.
one.
Suspiria. What?
Whatever the Shia LaBeouf one was with bloody David Morse, and it's like, well, he's clearly a serial killer. It's David Morse.
Do you know what? I actually quite like that film.
Did he do it? Did he not do it? It's David Morse. He did it.
I quite like Disturbia as well. Again, it's very sort of normal too.
Yeah.
It's shit, but
it's terrible, but I like it.
I think my problem comes down to, it's like if you cast Malcolm McDowell as someone and go, oh, is he the killer? Yeah, it's Malcolm McDowell. And so it's like, yeah, it's David Morse. He did it. And it's like, oh, he might be innocent. No, it's David Morse. He definitely did it. He's definitely a serial killer.
Yeah, it sets out for him to be creepy. I'll give you that.
Because like you could have done it where you cast someone and it's like they're creepy, but then it's like maybe they're just a creepy old man, but actually they're not a bad guy. A bit like the man in Home Alone, where you're like, oh, he's scary. Then it's like, oh, actually, he's a lovely old man. Whereas David Morse, you're like, no, he's got dead bodies in his house. And then at the end, you're like, yeah, obviously, he's got dead bodies in his house. It's David Morse.
So many dead bodies just swimming around in the house. You know, it's very obvious, that one. But the original Rear Window,
Very
I mean,
Jimmy Stewart. Oh no, Jimmy Stewart.
Jerry Stewart. Oh God, it's just.
Oh God,
yeah,
they murdered someone across the road, Grace.
Yeah,
Grace,
I love it.
Stop trying to have sex with me. I'm busy looking out my window, Grace.
Yeah, that was actually quite enjoyable. And then the final film goes to my love of the Coen brothers, and I picked The Big Lebowski. Now, obviously, like The Big Lebowski obviously did flop massively when it first got released because everyone was like, "Oh, Fargo, amazing!" Did it win awards? Anyway, everyone loved
Best
Fargo.
Picture.
Yeah, best. Okay, well, God, there was best. I should
Best
have known
actress.
that. But then they released The Big Lebowski, and everyone's like, "What the hell is this?" But in fact, it's genius. It is called anyone who has studied the Coen brothers as much as I did my dissertation on them at uni, so I delved really deep into this. The Big Lebowski is basically a detective story, and there are so many details, mechanisms that are exactly like a film noir, except the detective is the dude who just drinks white Russians and likes to bowl and really wants that rug. It really tied the room together. So it's for this reason. There are so many great things about The Big Lebowski that I could wax lyrical on it, and I won't do it here, but Big Lebowski is a brilliant gateway into the Coen brothers world. And if you don't want to go right into any like old classic film noir stuff, just start with The Big Lebowski.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man. No, Big Lebowski is good.
I only recently watched it on a plane, so I feel like I didn't give it enough respect watching on the tiny screen.
It needs more respect.
That cover of Hotel California by was it Gypsy Kings?
Yes.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, I want to go bowling now.
I want to go bowling.
John Goodman in that film. John Goodman in any Coen Brothers film gives his best performances. Him in Barton Fink, him in Raising Arizona, him in Big Lebowski, him in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou as Big Dan.
I love that film.
Oh, so good. Yeah, that was the other one I was going to pick.
In Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, where he's beating the crap out of Tim Blake Nelson, and then it just cuts to George Clooney and he goes, well, I don't know what you're saying, Big Dan. It's great.
On the FilmHounds top 5 that I'm going to do with my mic, Oh Brother Where Art Thou would make 5, I reckon.
See, that was a close one.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was great.
Yeah, I was going to pick that, but I went Big Lebowski.
Coen's is tough because I was late to the Coen brothers, and actually the Coen brothers that got me into Coen's was Hail Caesar.
Yes.
Which people don't tend to like, but I love Hail Caesar. And that's what got, and then I was like, oh, and No Country's obviously amazing. And then you go back and like Miller's Crossing, they even that, actually no, The Lady Killers is just dreadful. But
no, we don't talk about that one ever.
Everything else, there's always, I don't know, their films are great. Inside Llewyn Davis is lovely. A Serious Man, so Cy Abelman is one of the most evil characters in all of cinema.
So good. There are so many good moments in all of these films. So, Paul, what's your top 4?
What's my top 4? I wonder what. You can't see my. I realize this is a podcast. You can't see the mug I'm holding up, but I will tell you. I wonder what it could be. So my first film is, and this will be a surprise to absolutely nobody on this planet, is The Lion King, from 1994. Rob Minkoff, Roger Allers. For me, I think it's just a perfect movie. You know, it's got everything you could possibly want: talking lions, Nathan Lane, Nazi iconography, a really attractive lion that gives like really sexy eyes at one point, Elton John music.
Wait, what? Are you talking about Nala?
That bit where she falls back in the grass during "Can You Feel the Love Tonight"?
Oh, right now. Yeah, actually, I do get that. Oh my God. Yeah.
Thank you.
They knew what they were doing, those animators.
It's up there with the Fox Robin Hood, where you're like, that's a sexy drawing of an animal.
Everything about that Robin Hood is perfect.
Solid. But yes, no, the Lion King I love, and I hate the Jon Favreau remake. You butchered a perfect film.
Because we didn't say what you was doing at the start. You held up a mug.
Oh, I'm holding up a mug with Simba on it, part of my 11 mug collection of Lion King mugs.
11.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I think there might be more actually. I get one every Christmas from my spouse, and now from my son. I love The Lion King. I think it's a perfect film, and it's just great. And I really hate Jon Favreau for doing the remake because it was crap.
I think everyone hates him for that.
Be Prepared. Be Prepared is like one of the best villain songs. You can't butcher that by making Chiwetel Ejiofor just kind of say, go and be prepared or whatever. I don't know. Oh, it was awful. Anyway, The Lion King is my first film. I love it. My second is The Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1975.
That was a close one for me.
Yeah.
I love The Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know that by today's standards, it's a bit problematic, and you know, I do get the criticism that like it's kind of aged poorly, but at the same time, it's a great gateway if you're like, oh, I wonder what my sexuality is. Watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show. We've got pale guys, we've got femme guys, we've got twinks, we've got Susan Sarandon,
I love her.
And don't forget,
we've got old dudes in suits.
And Christopher Biggins, who used to be a theatre dame.
There's a commentary done by Richard O'Brien, who plays Riff Raff and wrote it, and Patricia Quinn, who plays Magenta, for the 30th anniversary. And there's a great bit when they're doing the time warp. It cuts to Christopher Biggins being fed an eclair. And Richard O'Brien goes, oh, look, Christopher Biggins is stuffing his face again. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is amazing. And Susan Sarandon is a treasure. I wish I was Tim Curry. I want to be Tim Curry. Not just in that as well. In everything. I want to be him in everything. Actually, particularly in the episode of Sayce that he's in. But I love Tim Curry. He's a treasure. And I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And when people are like, I don't like musicals, I'm like, well, do you know what? Fuck you. Rocky Horror Picture Show is a classic.
Fuck you and watch Rocky Horror.
I'm having the time warp played at my funeral, and everyone has to get up and do it. I don't care. My dream in life.
At the war on a motorbike.
Then what you don't realise is at the wake, when you're all eating, they're going to rip the tablecloth off, and it's just going to be my corpse. You realise you were eating me.
Oh my God.
Going to get my dad to go, I knew he was in with a bad crowd, but it was worse than I had imagined. Aliens.
I hope I get a ticket.
It's my dream to play the criminologist on stage. I really want to play that role. That's a dream. But yeah, I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show. My third would be Jurassic Park. You can't see my tattoo of Mr. DNA, but Jurassic Park is the film that made me love films. I remember seeing it when I was 6 years old and being like, I want to be a dinosaur. And then I got a very harsh reality check when they were like, I was a bit like, you ever see Step Brothers? When Richard Jenkins is like, I really wanted to be a T-Rex. And I used to walk around with my arms like this. And then my dad said, you're 40, get a fucking job. And that was me. You can't be a dinosaur, Dad, you're a man. But that was me with Jurassic Park. And Jurassic Park is so quotable. If nobody has been to see Hang On to Your Butts, it's like a stage production of it, but it's two guys with like props that they've made, and they do the entire film in about 45 minutes, playing all the roles. It's so funny. It's so funny, and I love Jurassic Park. My wife got really angry with me over Christmas because it was on TV, as it always is. And as it was going, I was quoting along with it. But I wasn't. But the thing was, I was actually building Lego at the time. But I was just going, "Life finds a way." And then she was like, something was like, the blood-sucking lawyer is the only one on my side. And she was like, I'm turning it off.
Oh no!
It's Chilean sea bass. Do you know what? When people go, oh, I don't really like Jurassic Park, I'm properly like...
Incorrect.
Yes.
I know this might sound insane, but every time I watch Jurassic Park, I'm so upset it's not real. And I know that sounds sensible because dinosaurs eat everyone. I know. Like, I love dinosaurs so much when I was a kid. And now, like, my kids love dinosaurs, so I feel like I'm getting back into that again. It makes me so upset Jurassic Park's not real.
Oh.
Not the killing,
Wow.
like the actual... Can you imagine going to Jurassic Park and seeing that for yourself? Like that, welcome to Jurassic Park, and seeing the dinosaurs.
Seeing
Even
that
seeing the
door.
screen every time, goosebumps. It makes me fuming it's not real.
I can't go to a zoo now.
It's not good enough.
Why is it not killing me?
No T-Rexes. This
They're
bullshit.
not high enough, the fences.
We screened Jurassic Park for my 30th birthday, and I had like friends and family there in the cinema. Yeah. And my then 4-year-old niece was there, and my dad actually flew into the country because he lives abroad to surprise me. He was there. It was like a nice surprise party. It was lovely.
Just as a dinosaur.
And we're watching dressed as a dinosaur. He is a dinosaur. And we were watching the film. And I just remember that it was like getting to the bit with the cup of water shaking. And my dad's like, God, this is quite tense. And then he was like, is the little one going to be all right? She was sat there with the biggest smile on her face. The bit where the T-Rex eats Gennaro, she turned to her mum and went, Mummy, I love this.
A woman of taste.
And then,
Yes.
right? And then I went round to her house for her 5th birthday. And she was like, she got up and she was like, I'm going to the toilet. And then as she went to leave the room, she went, Uncle Paul, hope I don't get eaten. And then, this is amazing. The thing that cracks me up is that some of my cousins who are adults had not seen Jurassic Park. And obviously I've seen it 100 times or whatever. So that bit where they're in the kitchen and the little girl was like, it's fine, they can't open doors. And then they like open the latch. One of my cousins was like, oh shit. I was like, you knew it was going to happen. The minute you go, oh, it's fine, they can't do that. They're going to do... He was like, the dinosaurs are in the kitchen, Paul. They're in the kitchen.
I envy anyone who gets to watch Jurassic Park for the first time again.
Oh my God.
I don't remember when I first watched it because I was so little. But now I get to see like my eldest has watched it, my youngest hasn't. Watching them watch it for the first time is just incredible.
But it's become part of just my lexicon. Like I will just quote it, just anything like in workplaces. If they're like, "Can you turn the lights on?" I'm like, "Hang on to your butts." They'll just like stare at me like, "What?" Or like if there's someone I don't like, I'll be like, "I really hate that man." Nothing. And I'm like always quoting it. Come on.
We're getting too deep into Jurassic Park stuff. So reveal with a drum roll your last.
My last one is The Prestige by Christopher Nolan from 2006. Now it's hard whittling down because I love loads of movies. Like I love films,
so do we all.
So do we. If you say so, Lord of the Rings, man. But
how dare you?
I love The Prestige. I think, a controversial opinion, I think it's Christopher Nolan's best film.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually agree with that.
I think it's his best film. I think it's super underrated.
Did you say Tenet?
If I was saying what is his shittest film, yes. But yeah, Tenet is shit, and The Prestige is great. The Prestige is the first time I'd seen like Hugh Jackman in like a not Wolverine role, and then I was like, this guy can really act. And I think it's got one of the best casts of a movie. Like just the ensemble, like Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Scarlett Johansson, Rebecca Hall, Andy Serkis, Piper Perabo, David fucking Bowie. Why? Because David Bowie, you know how Christopher Nolan does it like CGI? David Bowie can just do that. He is a wizard. He can just clone cats. All those cats he cloned himself. He could just do that. He could just make electricity. That's just David Bowie. Even though his accent as Tesla is awful.
Oh, who cares? It's David Bowie.
No,
we forgive
but
him.
I love it. But it adds to the charm that he's like, "Hello, my name is Tesla. I'm making the machine for you, Mr. Angier."
So as we're talking about Letterboxd, like, doesn't that make you remove half a star, Paul? A bad accent, or does that increase it?
No, it increases it because it's part of the charm. It's part of what I like. It's a bit like, in a weird way, when people are like, "Oh, Star Wars now is badly written," and I'm like, Star Wars was always badly written. That's not a criticism. That's why I like it. I like A New Hope because it's terribly written, and it's quite poorly acted, and it's weirdly edited. I like those old Star Wars movies because they're not great, and I'm kind of like,
I'm restrained here. I'm restrained. So please get to a good point.
Right. And that is why I like David Bowie and his accent as Tesla, because it's awful. And that's what makes it so charming, is that it's like, David Bowie is not an actor. He's been in films, but he's not actually that good an actor.
Have you seen Labyrinth? He is acting in that. That was good.
Oh, that's not in my top 4. It should have been. Let me quickly change it.
He's not acting in Labyrinth. He's clearly himself in Labyrinth. Like, he clearly just showed up on set and was like, "I brought all of these weird Jim Henson puppets with me. What are we doing?"
Make my trousers tighter.
They were just his trousers from home. Don't forget the baby. But he's really charismatic. The Prestige, I think, also maybe because, like, in the lead up to The Dark Knight, I was like obsessed with The Prestige because I was like 13. I think I watched it every day for a week. Like, I had it on DVD, and just every single night I watched The Prestige. I was like, "This is amazing." And yeah, I think it's great. And every time I watch a Nolan film, I'm like, "Yeah, that Oppenheimer, that was good. Not as good as The Prestige, though."
I agree. I agree with the statement.
Yeah, and also, it's one of those ones because a lot of film people have seen it, but normal people haven't. And if they're like, "What's a really good film that I probably haven't seen?" I'm like, "You ever see The Prestige from 2006?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Right, we'll go watch that." And they're like, "What's it about?" And I'm like, "It's about 2 hours." I'm not going to tell them the plot. It's got a great plot twist in it. It's great. It's just,
there's plenty of plot twists.
And it's great, and it's got Michael Caine in it.
I'm glad when we spoke about Companion, by the way, just going back, that we didn't speak about anything specific, because I really enjoyed it.
And it's good if you don't know the stuff. It's good if you go in not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And David, are you going to give us your actual top 4, or are you going to fart arse around?
Of course, I had some ideas. So I was looking at the Sight and Sound top 100, and I was going to choose the most obscure films, but I didn't.
What's that? What's the one that made #1? That Gian.
It's a French film. It's about a housewife, right?
No, that's too obvious. Yeah. So I went for. Well, actually, do you know what? #2 is in my list. Vertigo.
It's good, but there's no Shawshank Redemption.
It's not in my list. But do you know what you just said about watching The Prestige like every day of the week? I'm the total opposite. Most films I've watched like twice at the most. I bought the 4K of Alien, which is in my top 4, and I've only ever watched it once. And I need to watch it again, but it's in my top. I loved it so much that it's in my top 4. But I can't quote it. I can't say anything about it because I've watched it once. Jurassic Park, can't quote everything. I just enjoy the memory, enjoy how I felt at the time. And there's all the new films. But yeah, Vertigo is in my list.
Interesting.
I love it. Psychedelic, suspenseful. Kim Novak, I love her, obviously, like Susan Sarandon. Like you did, Katie, I did a dissertation on Hitchcock. So, and that was a while ago, 19 years now, but I love Hitchcock.
I didn't do my dissertation on Hitchcock. I did mine on David Fincher.
I did mine on Coen Brothers, but yeah.
I do love Hitchcock, but I did my dissertation was on Final Girls.
Yeah.
Horror. obviously.
Horror, the horror queen.
You know what? We should do an issue of Filmhounds, a bonus one, where it's all of our dissertations.
I reread mine not that long ago, and my it is bad. You can tell, like, it was early writings. I thought,
yeah, I'm surprised I managed to eke out a 2-2. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, I'm pretty proud of mine.
They were unbelievably magnanimous about my. Although my lecturer did find when I did a bit on Fight Club, I just gave it. I was like, "Oh, this is the chapter on Fight Club," and he was like, "Okay." And I just gave him 5 blank pages, and he looked at me and I went, "I'm not allowed to talk about it." And he just handed it back and was like, "Get out." I was like, "Come on, come on, man." He was like, "Please do not submit that properly." I was like, "I'm not going to. Where's your sense of humor?"
I got marked down because I didn't write about Tarantino. And I was like, it's about the Coen brothers and violence in the Coen brothers movies. And that she was like, yeah, I wanted you to talk about, like other directors like Tarantino. I was like, did you read the title of the dissertation?
One of my friends had that. She did like Disney princesses in the classic era of Disney, and she got marked down for not writing about Frozen. Disney,
is she still bitter about it, or did she let it go?
About it.
Oh, Paul, I've just realised you've got a Jurassic Park poster behind you.
I do. Yes, I do. I do. What you can't see is that I've put a little Father Christmas hat on it for Christmas, and I've not taken it off yet.
Ho, ho, ho. So yeah, Alien, Vertigo, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Yes.
I also love Arnold Schwarzenegger. It could have been the first Terminator as well. Terminator 2, it's iconic. I want to watch it now. Again, that's one film I've watched multiple times. So I may have even watched it 5 times. How about that?
I was going to say, what does it take for you to watch a film more than once or twice? That's what I was trying to say.
Well, my final choice I've watched like every year, and I've mentioned it before. There's so many films, and if you run a film magazine, as we all do, there's just too much. There's too much to like watch.
Too many films.
Too many films.
It's. Do you know what though? Do you know what's great? Because you obviously have kids. You'll start revisiting the films you've not watched in ages, and you'll be like, "You got to watch it." Because this is what I've been doing. I'm like, "Do you know what?" Because like, I'm like, "Oh, do you know what is good though? Small Soldiers. We should watch Small Soldiers. We should watch Space Jam." But also, what you also find is you go back and you're like, "Small Soldiers. I remember that when I was 6. You're 6. You watch it going, my parents were really irresponsible. Wow, this is really violent. This is really violent.
The soldiers.
I'm like, oh God, I forgot that I was raised in the wild west of the 90s when they were like, that's a film about toys, isn't it? And it's like, a toy go, you've got guts. Let's see what they look like. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm showing a 6-year-old this.
Did you ever have the Small Soldiers? There was a computer game on it. And it was so good. It was like multiplayer.
I was talking about this not that long ago with my husband. It's so good.
Yeah, they need to bring an online version so we can all play.
I didn't, but my cousin had do you remember room guards? Little statues that were motion. So they were big in like the late 90s, but they were like, I don't know, they were like, I'm doing a hand signal thing. But basically they were like 2 inches high or whatever. And they were motion sensors, so that you'd put them near your door, and if someone came in, it would be like Major Chip Hazard, and he'd then move with the voice of Tommy Lee Jones being like, "You're not authorized to be here, soldier." My cousin had a Chip Hazard one. I had Hopper from A Bug's Life, and every time he went to my room, there'd just be this big Hopper with problematic AF Kevin Spacey voice going, "It's a bug world out there. Someone could get hurt."
That is horrible.
Oh, my sister had one that was bolted to her ceiling of the Powerpuff Girls. So when you went in, they'd be like, "Powerpuff," and then they'd spin around.
Oh my God.
These will be useful for parents to keep the kids out.
Yeah, God. I miss my Hopper room guard.
That's so scary. He was horrible.
It was quite scary. In the end, I think I just took the batteries out because every time I walked into the room, it would make me jump. And I'm like, "It's my room. Why are you having a go at me?"
I think we should have a look one episode at like certain films and the merch you can get, everything, the tie-ins, because that's just one film. Imagine the 90s was mental with the stuff you could
Oh my
get.
god! But also in the 80s and 90s, all the tie-in merch to like 15-rated films was aimed at kids. Like Terminator 2 had toys aimed at children. Terminator 2 is a 15-rated violent movie, and they were like, "Get the all-new T100 action figure. You're terminated. Get John Connor with punch action hands."
My uncle bought my cousins a Terminator 2 toy where you get the skeleton, like probably about this big, and you put in some material, sticks to it, and you can peel it off. So it's a proper serious crafting thing where you have to like know what you're doing, pot the powder in, mix it all up. And us being like impatient kids, like I was probably like rushing into it. We just went up to the bathroom on our own and did it. And let's just say it was probably cost a fortune at the time, and we just had like powder everywhere and ruined it for my uncle. Sorry, I feel sorry for him.
Growing up, because I think my I know for a fact my parents and my aunts and uncles grew up poor, and then in the 90s they had a bit of money, so all of us kids basically got all the stuff that they wished they had. So we weren't rich, but when it came to like Christmas, my dad was like, "I always wanted a Xenomorph toy, so you're gonna have a Xenomorph toy." It's like, I am 5 years old. Why is a Xenomorph on the Starship Enterprise fighting Batman? This crossover makes no fucking sense. I had a Xenomorph and a Predator, and it makes no sense why I had them, because I didn't see Predator until I was 18. I didn't see Alien until I was like 12. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I had like
Terminator 2 is good though, and that had good toys.
Beetlejuice toys, Batman, from the film, and just a RoboCop, which
RoboCop toys were like, "Hey kids, get the mutilated corpse of a police officer gunned down by drug dealers."
I wish I kept them all though.
Your move, Dickless. He has all new dick shooting ability. Get cocaine snorting Ronnie Cox.
My final choice, unfortunately, was before the time of all the toys, because I would love to have toys of it. And this film I probably watch every year, and I've mentioned it on podcasts before. Little Shop of Horrors. I bloody love it.
Little Shop of Horrors.
And we had an interview in FILMHOUNDS. That was one of our cover stories, where we had a Frank Oz interview. So that was one of the highlights since we're doing FILMHOUNDS.
Yeah, it was a proper big retrospective of a lot of actors, wasn't it? Wasn't like who plays Audrey? Wasn't Audrey interviewed as well?
Ellen Green as well, yeah.
Ellen Green.
And they don't really talk to people.
Yeah,
so, and I just loved it. I think I try and watch it near Christmas.
Musicals feel Christmassy. I don't know what it is. Even if they're not Christmas films, musicals feel Christmassy. It's like, oh, Christmas. Got to watch Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, people getting eaten by plants, dentists ripping teeth out.
Feed me, Seymour. Well, like, feed me, Seymour.
So good. I love that dentist song.
Oh my God. The dentist is oh God. Steve Martin. The only time I've ever seen him not with white hair. That's how you knew it was weird. I'm like, ugh. You look weird with hair that's not white. Should have kept the alternate ending where the plants take over the world, though.
I don't know.
I don't mind. Either ending is fine.
As long as that bastard dentist dies, don't care.
No,
I want him
I
to
saw
live.
a production of Little Shop of Horrors on stage, and it was delightful. Just a delightful film. Rick Moranis, you're a great guy, Rick Moranis. Stop blowing up and shrinking people, though.
I need to watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with my daughter.
Yes, that would be age appropriate.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you know what I'm surprised they never did? They should have got Rick Moranis to cameo in one of the Ant-Man films. That would have been a good callback to like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. If he played like Paul Rudd's dad, but was still just Honey, I Shrunk the Kids going, "Oh no!"
Do you know what they should have done, Paul? They should have just said, he's in it, he's really small, and one scene, you just got to like have a keep it like a...
You know, I saw Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves before I'd seen that about 3 times before I'd ever seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Not the second one.
Third one.
It's the third one that no one wanted to watch, well, apart from Paul.
That's where I learned that bananas are a good source of potassium. Okay, because the kid has like a weird, health condition where he's got a potassium deficiency or something, and he goes into like a potassium coma, and then they're like, the parents are like, "How is he's gonna die?" And then the other kid gets a banana and he like eats it, and they're like, "I'm so proud of him. He's so smart." It's great. Got the volcano. They have a house party. Oh, good. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves is underrated, guys.
I think we should end the podcast there.
Yeah, we should.
I've never seen We Blew Up the Kid,
And we'll never see Paul again.
Got to find my Terminator child-appropriate action figures.
Fine. I'm trying to remember other stuff I had.
I had Godzilla action figures that made no sense within the context of the Roland Emmerich Godzilla.
I never had any of these toys. Deprived. I had books.
I still don't have books.
But then I was like a movie-obsessed kid, so I was like, "What do you want for Christmas, Paul? Movie merchandise."
Yeah, my parents, we all loved movies. Like trying to just get DVDs or videos out of them was hard enough. My dad got them free from work.
I got lots of videos, lots of DVDs.
Oh, I've got lots of DVDs now.
That has been the FilmHounds Podcast, available wherever you find your podcast. We are available in print, FilmHounds Magazine. We are available online, filmhounds.co.uk. We are, if there's a media of it, we're there. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on Blue Sky, we're on Letterboxd. We were talking about it, and you can follow our Letterboxd, FilmHounds. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time with some more film chat, some more tangents, and some more guests. So, bye.
Bye-bye.
Just remember that you cannot be a hero if your name is Paul.
Remember, if you must remember something, remember this.